name is Lindy Cowling. Welcome to my channel. My website is www.lindycowling.co.uk. My email is info@lindycowling.co.uk. The title of this short video, I'm hoping it will be fairly short video this evening, is Parallel Soul, Parallel Universe. Parallel Souls, Parallel Universe. So what do I mean by Parallel Souls, Parallel Universe? So on previous videos I have discussed the concept of timelining, discussed the concept that time is not linear, but that time actually is a spiral shape, and that all timelines, that's what we think of as past, present and future, are all in existence now. So hundreds of years ago is in existence now. All timelines in existence now, all playing at the same time. It would be like being in multiple theatres, the soul being in multiple movies at the same time, all playing at the same time. So going through their existence or perceived reality of existence, all in the same moment now, no matter where you are at in the timeline. I've also discussed the concept that as part of evolution there is an awareness of the timelines rushing together and meeting at a point. And at that point, when those timelines are converging, not only is there awareness of the multidimensionality of the soul, which means the soul existing in multiple dimensions at the same time, which I'll get into in a minute, but there is also the awareness that in all the timelines that exist now, one can, if one has the awareness in that timeline, choose the highest expression of consciousness or the lowest expression of consciousness, the high road or the low road, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th gear, or 3rd gear. Now, I'm just going to briefly discuss the concept which overlaps with all of this of the parallel universe and the soul within the parallel universe, hence parallel soul. And I'm going to discuss it briefly from the twin flame soul as a whole, two expressions of consciousness in the timeline at the same time, but also across all timelines in existence in the moment of now. And I'm going to briefly refer to the soul that isn't a twin soul, because this applies to everyone. There are slight differences in the twin flame union because everything is amplified and for a slightly different purpose, but amplified. So parallel universes basically are alternate experiences of the soul at the same time. Now I'm going to really take this slowly because I appreciate I'm dealing with a complex subject, and as it's coming out of my mouth, I haven't rehearsed this or practiced what I'm going to say. I am literally, not processing, but as it's coming out of my mouth, I'm making sure it's coming out in a way that can be understood. So I'm going to backtrack again. Timelines, timelining, is what you and I think of past, present, future. From a linear, totally linear perspective, our life now. From the multidimensional, non-linear perspective, all what we think of as time and our history and our present and our future are all running, existing in this infinite moment now. So they're not gone and over with. The years of Henry VIII aren't gone and over with. That's still running. It's still going round and round. I know it's hard to get your head round. Don't try and get your head around it all at once, because it'll just scramble your mind and scramble your ego. Multidimensionality is an awareness of the soul as a multidimensional being in multiple dimensions at the same time. So not just the concept of infinite timelines at the same time, but infinite dimensions at the same time. And I should say that most people don't have awareness of these other timelines at the same time, otherwise they'd be a bit, doolally. It would scramble their brains. They're supposed to focus on what's happening now and creating with the timeline they've got now. But there are exceptions. Sometimes people do become aware of those timelines through past life regression, through other things like that, through their awakening, through meeting another soul that brings that remembrance, that divine remembrance back. Some people do, but the majority of the population aren't aware of those timelines. Huge swathes of the population aren't aware or even entertain the idea of multiple dimensions or multidimensionality, let alone parallel universes. Well, where parallel universes cross over with this is it's very, very similar and overlaps to the timelines running at the same time, except the parallel universes are alternate outcomes, other outcomes, infinite outcomes different to the outcome you have now. So let me give you a simple example. Instead of the life on the surface that I'm living here now, in alternate timelines I could be living a totally different life. Totally different outcome, totally different circumstances, doing something completely different. And then if I multiplied this by an infinite number, and if infinite number, I'm almost drawn to say fractals, an infinite number where I could, it's like looking through one of those, you can look through certain stones or crystals, and when you look through it, you can see your reflection, multiple reflections of it. Some of them are a little bit more distorted than another. You can hold it up to your eye and look through it. And that's what I'm seeing clairvoyantly while I'm saying this, actually. Well, it's like that, but each one of those reflections that you see have a different outcome, and they're going through a different life, and they're going through things slightly differently. And some will be slightly differently to the life you're living now, but some will be completely differently to the life you're living now. And that's the parallel state of consciousness, parallel universe, parallel consciousness, the paralleling of the soul. And I appreciate this is very complex. This is very, very complex. It's quite complex to talk about, let alone quite complex to get your head around. And I'm sure if you're watching this, you're probably thinking, what's she talking about? This is not a new concept, but I speak about concepts that I 100% have the awareness of or resonate with, and like I say, it's an experiential channel. And I'm at a stage where I'm comfortable talking about this, and it's not frying my mind talking about this at all, because I'm fully of the realisation of it. So I'm going to repeat it again. The soul, we start as essence, mist, spirit, source, the infinite, the divine. We come down through experience into the vehicle known as the soul. As soul, we are given, in a way, divine amnesia, so that when we incarnate, we are primarily focused on the life that we are aware of now, and not distracted, messed up, or derailed by other timelines or other existences. And sometimes that can happen. There can be bleed throughs where you are affected by those, and vice versa, they're affected by you, because it's all aspects of soul. But while you're going through your linear awareness of existence here, driving your soul, at the same moment you are doing that, there are other timelines, what you think of as past, present, future, running in existence in this moment now, in their own concepts of time. So you, the soul, having these infinite experiences in timelines at the same time, you, as part of your development, getting to a stage where you're also aware, not only that concept of that sits comfortably with you, but you are aware of your multidimensionality, which means that your soul, when it came down into existence, can also exist in multiple, infinite dimensions, more than we have the awareness of at the moment, infinite dimensions at the same time. But your focus is on the awareness of the life, if you like, that you are living now, but also there is the paralleling and the parallel universe of the soul, the parallel soul, which is you existing in every conceivable, possible outcome of your soul's experience in this same moment. Some may be closely aligned to the choices you made in this life, others totally different. Through your own awakening and through your own process, you may have vague awareness of aspects of the timelines, you may have awareness of your multidimensionality, you may have parallel universe awareness. And at certain points, all of these aspects, timelining, paralleling, multidimensionality, they all overlap anyway, but at certain points in your consciousness and in your process, there are certain points where they all touch. And it's at that point where there is that convergence. Let's call them convergence points. Let's call them converging points, where one timeline can be influenced by another, where there can be the awareness of multidimensionality of the soul, where one parallel universe, one parallel experience of the soul can be influenced by that. There's a crossover point, and let's call them convergence points. So it's an extraordinary thing. Now with that applies to every single being that is having an experience through aspect of soul on this planet. If we rack it up a notch and talk just briefly on the twin flame side of it, where there are more than one aspect of soul in the human bodies meeting or around each other in the timeline. Let me repeat that again. where there is more than one aspect of the same soul in a human vehicle in the same moment in time, in the same timeline, everything is amplified. Like we've just mic'd it up to, you know, thousands and thousands of watts, like we've just turned the lights up, like a football stadium worth of lights extra. Everything is amplified when there are more than one aspect of soul around each other at the same time, or in connection at the same time, in the same universe, in the same reality, in the same lifetime, in the same timeline at the same time. It is all magnified significantly. And there can be, not always, there certainly was with me, there was quite a lot of awareness of what was going on in the alternate timelines. Also awareness of the other timelines, what you would call past lives, and also an accidental crossover between the two, just for a few minutes, where we overlapped with 1930s Boston, didn't know what the hell was going on. Now, years later, I realised that was a crossover point there. If you were to say to me, okay, so if twin flame union, they are aspects of the soul, and it's all magnified because they are aspects of the soul in two bodies at the same time, in that timeline, aware of each other, and then we've got all this going on as well, parallel universes, multidimensionality, awareness of timelines. What if the twin flame union collapses? What if it doesn't go the way it could have gone, ideally was designed to go? What if, as happens in still a high proportion of times, cases, where in legitimate twin flame union the intensity was too much, or the lies were too much, or the person couldn't handle it, they couldn't face self, and one went forward and stepped into the embodiment of twin flame union, stepped into the embodiment of consciousness, and the other stayed down. If you were to say to me, well, isn't this great news about the parallel universes, because surely they could have a different outcome in a different universe, in a different experience of the same soul as a whole. Yes, that is correct. So they could be, let's call it, I don't want to call it successful because that implies failure. And if that aspect of soul, if one or both of them have managed to go forward into their awakened, elevated state of consciousness, then from that point of view it's been a success. Yes, we know it's for much bigger purposes than that. It's an act of service for humanity. But we can't call any of them failures, that, you know, because something, I haven't, all the people I've worked with across the world, I haven't seen one where both have gone down and stayed down. It's usually one that carries that consciousness forward. If you say to me, why one? I personally, I have to, hand on heart, I don't know any that have, where the whole thing has genuinely come down. I'm not talking about the process where, you know, they're apart for a while, which is standard, it's par for the course. I'm talking about when it's down and it's staying down. I've never seen both go forward when it's down and stayed down. I've always seen one go forward, and the other not stepped into their divinity. But if you say to me, again, I'm going to repeat, twin flame union, could it be successful in a parallel universe? Yeah, it could be having, in this moment, a different outcome in the parallel universe. But if you're going to say to me, well, is that enough then, because they've done it in other universes? I'm going to say to you, no. No, it's not. And that's not to imply any judgment or to imply any failure, but the whole purpose of incarnating in this timeline as aspect of the soul is because the potential and everything is there for one to anchor the complete multidimensional experience, all timelines, all the parallel experiences of the one soul, and anchor it across all timelines. Not to have it successful in one parallel universe, you know, not successful in this one. I don't like using that word because it implies failure. No one's failed. It's the easiest way to explain it. It's designed to be anchored in all aspects of consciousness, because twin flame union is not for, it's a template. So it's designed to be here and now, and it's designed for the highest outcome here and now. So if you are in a twin flame union that hasn't come together, won't be coming together, and you know, and you've gone forward, you could take some comfort from the fact that in other timelines or in a parallel, the soul is a parallel soul in parallel universes, perhaps lovely work is being done and it's come together in a certain way, but that's not like a get out of jail card. You know, it's not like the reason you incarnated in this timeline was to step into your greatest expression of consciousness. But you could take comfort that in parallel existences of the soul, there have been different outcomes. I mean, and I'm absolutely positive that there are different outcomes in different universes. But your focus is on this universe. Your focus is on being aware of who you truly are, going through your process, moving into your consciousness in this timeline, regardless of whether your union is down on its knees and over. And like I said before, just because it's over physically doesn't mean to say it's over in consciousness. Or whether you are alongside your soul connection as a one soul, or whether you're in vague communication. It doesn't really, the point I'm making here is, or if you're none of those, nothing to do with twin flame union, the point I'm making here is it's all about this infinite moment. It's all about going through your process now, and it's all about your focus being on this second, this infinite moment, because that's all there is, that's all there is, that's all there ever will be, that's all there ever has been, is this infinite second. On that note, I will love you and leave you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I hope it didn't fry your brains too much. It was an interesting one for me, because I got on here, I vaguely knew what the title was going to be, that was it. Before I got on here, it was like, this could be quite challenging, but I think I've done it okay, actually. It comes through me, really, rather than from my head, which is probably why it went fine. Right, on that note, I will love you and leave you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for resonating. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Bye. Bye.